What's going on, everybody? It's your boy EmeryReigns here, and today we're going to be talking about some fighting games. The purpose of this video is to kind of give you guys some tips on how you can improve as a fighting game player. I've been playing fighting games for years, casually and competitively. My main fighting game that I do dabble in is Dead or Alive.
Sidestep attack.
Break! Oh, he said nah.
That's it!
Now, while I wouldn't really consider myself a top player in Dead or Alive, I definitely consider myself to be somebody who's very experienced and knowledgeable of the game. Just like everybody else, I used to be really freaking bad at Dead or Alive. But I put my work in, I put my time, and I literally worked my ass off. I played against the best of the best players in the entire world until it paid off. I literally lost over and over again until I sat and looked at what I was losing to. It takes a certain type of person to be able to look at their losses and be able to review their gameplay of them losing constantly, to be able to look at it and say, maybe I need to block more. Maybe I need to be on the offensive more. Maybe I should have been more patient here, or maybe I should have been more offensive there. Sometimes you really have to look at your gameplay and realize what exactly you're doing wrong. That's the only way you're going to improve. A lot of people come into my streams and they ask me, yo, Emery, how do you get better at Dead or Alive? So I decided to make this video, and I'm going to give you guys 5 tips on how you can improve as a fighting game player. Number 1 on this list is going to be finding a character that suits your playstyle. Now, there's a lot of different types of fighting game players out there. There's people who are very slow paced, very conservative. There's people that are really heavily based on a rushdown type of playstyle. You need to figure out what type of playstyle you desire to use. Now, granted, the way you play is definitely going to depend on your character sometimes, but then again, there are people with unorthodox playstyles that can apply different kind of playstyles to different characters. You don't necessarily have to play a character one way in a fighting game, but there is going to be that one preferred way to play a character that's going to be the best in the long run. Later, as you become a more experienced and seasoned fighting game player, definitely go ahead and pick up other characters to play as secondaries and maybe even thirds. When you first learn a fighting game, you do not want to go in trying to main the entire cast or main half the cast. You want to pick a character or pick a few characters that you want to go through and mess around with to see which one you want to make your main, and then you pick that character and then you learn everything there is about that character. You master that character, you know all their moves, their frame data, you know what's safe, what's unsafe, the best way to play that character. If you try to start off with more than one character, you're never going to establish that comfortability. You're going to be constantly bouncing around from character to character and never have that chemistry with any certain character. When you're in a tight spot in the tournaments, always go back to your guns. Even if it's a bad matchup, if the matchup's not in your character's favor, sometimes you go to your guns. Even if it's like a 7-3 matchup or whatever it is, you go with the best you have to offer, because at least you get to go out guns blazing. Unless you're Sonic Fox, there's no way you're going to be able to pick up a fighting game and learn every single character within a couple days. That's honestly the best tip that I can give you guys for number 1. Number 2, when you start getting really comfortable with a fighting game and you start getting really comfortable with a certain character, that's when you really want to start venturing off and picking other characters to learn matchups. Matchups are some of the toughest things to learn in fighting games. If you guys are having trouble learning matchups, the best advice I can give you guys is picking up those characters that you struggle against. When you pick up that character and you watch videos on how people are using that character and seeing why that character is good or why people are using him, you really get to break that character down and realize, this person's going to use this attack right here. This person's going to use these attacks mainly because they're plus on block or because they're really safe, they're good pokes to use at neutral. Picking a character that you're really struggling against is the best advice I can give you guys for learning matchups, just because of the fact that you're going to know everything that character has to offer. You're going to know what's happening to you on block, and essentially you'll just know what to expect from that character. Even me, I'm guilty of it. When I try to play Tekken from time to time because I'm trying to learn Tekken on the side, I'll literally fight against a Yoshi or an Eddie player and I'll know that this character, I have no fucking idea what this character is doing, and because of the fact that I'm not labbing it up, I'm always going to lose to that character. Number 3 is going to be find out why you're losing. Find out what's causing you to lose so many matches. Find out what's making you lose to a certain character or a certain player. Most fighting games these days have replay features built in, and if not, every major platform, Xbox, PlayStation, there's a way to capture your gameplay. If you're really serious about getting better at a fighting game, the best thing that you can do is record your gameplay and review why you're losing these matches. Or maybe you're not even losing. Maybe you're playing really good, but you want to play better. Maybe you're like, I don't like how close that guy just got to beating me. Review the gameplay that you played against that person that you're struggling against and be like, okay, I can punish that. That's -7. That's -12. Whatever the case may be, you'll be able to review that gameplay, look at it, and analyze it and be like, I'm losing because I'm not punishing this move or because I'm not breaking this throw. Most good and smart fighting game players are going to exploit your weaknesses. When I'm playing DOA, I pay very close attention to what somebody's doing. I pay very close attention to how much meter they're using, how much they're sidestepping, how much they're holding, and I'll take advantage of that. If I know that they like to hold in a certain spot every single time, then I'm always going to go for a safe throw option to be able to bait out the hold or keep my frame advantage. Number 4, and this is one of the most important things, probably more important than 5. I'm gonna have to say number 4 to improve as a fighting game player is going to have to be fight players that are better than you. And when I say better than you, that can be any kind of skill range. It can be a player who's way better than you to the point where they're completely running you over, to a player who's just maybe a little bit better than you. You guys get matches on each other, but he takes the overall. Fight players that you know that are gonna give you a challenge and even beyond that. Because again, you can always review those gameplays later of you losing to this really great player and be like, this guy's applying this move right here. This guy's using this in this situation. Maybe I can use that in my game. If you're constantly fighting against players who you know you're gonna demolish every single time, if you're constantly fighting against players who you know you're just gonna run over and sweep completely, then you're never gonna improve. Now granted, there may be different reasons why you're playing against players who are not on your level. Maybe you wanna help them level up. Maybe you're that really good player they look up to and they wanna improve based off of fighting you. But if you're getting on a game every single day and you're constantly fighting your best friend and you guys go back and forth all the time, unless you're trying to learn matchups, you really need to venture off and fight players who are above your skill level. And last but not least, guys, number 5 is going to be you have to be able to take constructive criticism. A lot of constructive criticism is going to come from players that are better than you. But believe it or not, a lot of constructive criticism is going to come from players who are not on your level or nowhere even near as good as you are. As a fighting game player, and you guys as well, I feel like everyone should take some kind of criticism from somebody. Whether that be a top player, a mid-level player, a low-level player. Sometimes that low-level player or mid-level player knows something that you don't know, maybe even about your own character. Instead of writing people off and saying, I don't need your help, I don't need your help to improve, you're not as good as me, or yeah, I don't need your help to improve just because you're really good at the game. You should take every bit of constructive criticism into account. You never know what kind of information that somebody has for you that they'll be able to pass along to you and help improve your game. So those are my top 5 things that I think you guys can use to improve as a fighting game player. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Keep fighting and never give up. Peace.